I am so tired of late. Ever since you left me, my dear Anna-Louise, I have just started to feel lifeless, drained. Few things seem to lift me from this malaise. Even moments like this little garden party, well, they are largely things she enjoyed herself more than me. The province is beset with issues. All wounds I thought I'd healed. Is it time to admit that I'm done? Would I just make things worse by trying to get involved now? Should I not trust in my council, my court, my midden marshals, my children? Perhaps all would be better off without me. Yet I still feel something stirring in my soul. My hand still wants to raise my sword. But would that help or hinder? I do not know. Perhaps after this festival I need to think. I just can't focus on anything if I cannot at least be sure I can still do something. What a shameful way to be thinking as an elector count of the Empire. But the truth is I am filled with doubt. Even on the smallest things. This brash Reichlander. That suggestion for a moment seemed to me like perhaps it could be amusing. But then my seneschal was quick to remind me of the etiquette breaches, the political ramifications. Oh, how I longed to feel steel in my hand, to ride out and meet my problems head on. Was it this boldness in the past that has laid out these current problems? Have I burdened my children with a failed legacy? I must think. And for now, I must trust in my staff, trust my people. Yes. At least the city is safe for now. And that is all that has ever really mattered to me. This is Red Moon Role-Playing. A light snow has begun to fall, as the 5th day of the carnival slowly comes to its end. Luckily for our 3 heroes, they are all safe and warm back at the Templar's Arms, having just concluded a briefing with Master Barak, who was keen to find out what had actually occurred at the party. And after being told, he nods his head, takes a moment to smoke his pipe, and speaks. Not bad, not bad. I suppose it all seems to be coming together. It does seem as if one of the Law Lords has been compromised. Truly a regrettable turn of events. Of course we'll need evidence of that, but, well, maybe your lead will turn that up.
Well, we certainly hope so. That it has gotten that far up into the halls of power is, well, it is concerning.
But also expected. You don't pull something like this off without having control over some very influential people.
Certainly. Still feel we're missing something, though. Doesn't quite make sense. This is all well and good, but... well, the Graf could still overturn the whole thing, and what would then have been the point? But maybe that's not important, not now. We have our suspects. And of course you have your lead, although I have to say, I'm slightly confused, Siegfrieda. When it comes to being subtle, you were doing quite well until this last part. What exactly were you hoping would happen when you openly challenged the Graf's champion?
Solidifying our cover. It's easier to look like you belong, in my view at least, if you declare yourself so people remember your assumed names and such.
Well, that's true, but your cover was supposed to be something unassuming. Never mind, it's done. Mixed results. Half the court of Middenheim are dying to meet Lady Wittgenstein, a scandalous noble from the Reichland, full of mystery and champions at her beck and call, and the other half think you are a rabble-rouser here from the Reichland to stir discontent here to insult the traditions of the city and cause issues and problems. You've especially angered, Lady Zimperlich, the, chaperone. I'm not entirely sure why you've angered her so much, but you have.
Well, some people have no taste. Well, you know, that what they say is it's better to cause a divide and be known than be ignored entirely. The fact is, now that we are known, it means we can potentially get closer to people who actually recognise us as a noble and the entourage of a noble.
About that, he frowns and paces a little. If we were giving you further infiltration missions, that would be a good point. But we're not. We're actually trying to follow up on a very, very flighty lead. I was going to suggest, he frowns, that for the next 2 days you three all lay low. Maybe stay here in the inn and batten down the hatches. I reckon if they were going to do something to you three, they're going to do it now, and you might be in a far better position here safe than wandering around by yourselves. That's just a suggestion, but, well, I've had a word with the High Chancellor. That's all going ahead. She's going to make sure her little servant goes down to that part of the Alt Quarter right on schedule, and that all goes down. But there's a high chance that maybe that individual's not going to turn up now. But maybe if you do lay low, maybe they still will. Maybe. Just a suggestion.
Well, staying here at the inn, it doesn't sound that dreadful, does it? I look to the others.
Well, I'll need to take Erica out for walks occasionally. She's not exactly a house dog. And in my head right now, I'm thinking, I was very curious about having the opportunity to diagnose the Graf's son, Stefan, but that will have to wait. That would be too blatant, given everything that's going on right now. I can only hope that we will still be here after these activities conclude. So, I give a small shrug. Other than when absolutely necessary, I'm content to stay inside the Templar's arms.
Again, if you have any last preparations before this operation, you feel free to do them. I'm just thinking that for now it might be better if you don't make any more scenes until at least we follow up this lead.
I'll look to Heinrich.
Well, I suppose that makes me drastically overprepared. Looking down at the full spread of arms and armaments that he has been preparing for a very eventful day. Well,
I wouldn't say too overprepared, Heinrich. You're probably going to need all that. This lead, remember, we're not just going to jump on them. I suggest, again a suggestion, that you instead follow them, and maybe they can lead us to their source, their master, their lair, whatever.
Oh, of course, no, that's always the plan. It's just, in my experience, of course, limited as it is, the following usually leads to the fighting, and he makes a point of stuffing another ball of pistol shot into his bandolier.
Good. Right then, I'll leave you be. I'll take care of things on my end. Again, you've got your place, you've got your name, Frau Kiener, and in this discussion he has also already given you a description, which we were given by the Hard Chancellor, so you will at least hopefully be able to recognize a woman in a red cloak with a very big hat.
Does sound like it should be possible to pick her out of the crowd with that.
Indeed. And so Barak makes his departure, telling you that yes, he suggests staying in this inn for the next 2 days at least, keeping an eye on the door at all times, just in case. And then hopefully this will allow you to quickly get the jump on that lead on the final night of the carnival. You were given a time where the drug deal takes place, which is about 9 o'clock, so quite late in the evening, and it is, yes, on the last day of the carnival. If all goes well, you should be able to follow this person and, well, find something of great interest. But you do find yourself, Kruger, feeling a little sense of déjà vu. This has happened before, where something very simple has suddenly become extremely complicated and dangerous. So maybe there is still some preparations to be had. So, over the next 2 days, what will the three of you do? Is there anything anyone would like to do to prepare for this operation? Kruger, what about you to start with?
No, I think in terms of equipment, we are in rather good shape, so we should be okay with this, I think. I think I'll just make sure that all my my weapons are ready, and that, that I have the appropriate clothes for sneaking around the area. And that's about it from my side.
What about Bjorn? You still have his head in a box. Are you going to try and just get rid of it, or drop it off at a Temple of Moor for a proper burial, or as much a proper burial as can be had, or say goodbye to him? What do you do?
That is right. We do still have that, don't we? Yes, I suppose I will do. I'll have to try to get maybe word to Alfric as well, then, that something has happened to Bjorn. I mean, he was in the employ of him, right?
He was.
So yeah, if that is something that I can do relatively on the down low, then I will attempt to do that and say my final goodbyes to Bjorn.
It's not too difficult to do. You're able to get back down to the Oswald district, inform, for free, half-nose. There's not much ceremony given, and apparently half-nose says that compensation has already been paid for, whatever that means. And yes, do you say anything to Bjorn as you see him for one last time? Or rather his head being given, apparently, to, well, the Temple of Moor for at least some form of burial.
I'm just so sad that we never had the chance to go out for that drink again, Bjorn. It was so much... We had so many things to catch up on, so many things that had happened. And... well, your journey ends here. Mine continues. We'll have to meet again later, when mine ends. Rest in peace, my friend.
Heinrich, 2 days in the inn. Is there anything you'd like to do other than polish up your armor and get your guns nice and ready?
Well, I have identified one critical flaw in my plan, so far as the imminent arrival of violence and daring deeds is concerned. I don't know what most people feel like the appropriate amount of guns to bring to a gunfight is, but I am firmly of the belief that it is more than 2. And despite our extensive expenditure in the underground information economy, I believe I have enough to procure an additional firearm.
I'm sure you do, and a fur gun could certainly be handy, although at some point the issue with having lots of guns is that you only have 2 hands. But if you wish to try and purchase a gun for the standard price, that would be possible.
More than happy to do so, because the drawing a pistol is faster than reloading a pistol. And ideally, you want to have as many pistols as there are bad men. Going to have to get a bigger coat.
Indeed. And so, you'll organise this. How are you feeling as well? You see a few flyers here and there. Apparently the championship for the judicial position is long over. The winner once again, Herr Scheidenhammer. Herr.
This is the worst of all worlds. Having to set aside my own ambition, whatever, that's fine. Caster Lieberung this, Lady Wittgenstein that. We all have our role to play in the world, and there are evils greater than those who have made, idle threats at some duke and need to be taught a lesson in the dueling ring. But, God, the waiting! I understand I'm not the sneakiest person around, and I understand that the Imperials have very specific ways they like to handle things, but what use is a sword kept in its holster? And I mean that both literally, because I have a beautiful weapon, and figuratively, because I am an incredible sword.
Yes, although it's slightly conflicting as you're thinking that and looking at the large amount of pistols you now have as well. But you make your way back to the inn. Again, taking in the news, not only did that go down, apparently the Middenheim final was extremely exciting and the local team won, and there were some excellent fights at the Bernabeu Stadium, which again, you sadly missed.
The things we sacrifice for our friends, which I expect Heinrich muses loudly in the direction of Kruger or Siegfried, whoever happens to be around, as he thumbs through the... It wouldn't be like a newspaper. I'm imagining a pamphlet of some kind. Not that he can read, but appearances. Maybe there's a picture.
There certainly are posters with pictures and a couple of words, so not too hard for the average person to at least understand. Siegfrieda. There is one thing that you could do in the next 2 days, but it is a choice that you will have to make. And that is seek out your doctorate. You have everything you need for it. All you need to do really now is go down to the Physicians' Guild, make your case, and, well, when the issue of bribes and work experience comes up, just say a phrase the man gave you that apparently would sort out everything. The question is, are you going to do that? Do you think this is the right time to do that?
For the longest time, it's of course been all I've ever really wanted, but then again, I said that about becoming a physician. And I have often made sacrifices, sometimes to my detriment, to get ahead in this field. And so over these 2 days I do consider it. I walk back and forth, and when I take Erica out for walks, I'm always drawn toward the Physicians' Guild house and making that registration, but I don't think I do. For a simple reason. It will mean absolutely nothing if I die, and all I've got to say for it is I became a doctor before my death. If I live through all of this, if we survive, if we triumph, I can do the exact same thing once the issues that we are investigating are resolved. There is no need to hurry. I've rushed into things far too many times, and now I need to exert some patience, spend time with Erica and with my friends, because this is the calm before the storm. There's no point inviting more danger than we need.
That certainly makes sense. I suppose the only thing that might be niggling on your mind is, of course, the whole aspect of being Lady Marguerite von Wittgenstein. How long is that going to last? You don't know.
Well, I've balanced that question as well, and my imagination tells me this. I am now known as Lady Marguerite von Wittgenstein. If it comes out that I am an imposter during the events to come, the Physicians' Guild and any other guild that recognises me as such could quite easily strip those credentials away. So, again, vaulting into this blindly, letting my excitement carry me away, essentially acting selfish, will do no one any good. So no, I will wait. I'll bide my time, and with any luck, within a matter of days, all of this will be over, to our benefit.
In that case, is there anything other than taking dear Erica out for a walk that you would like to do in those 2 days?
I just want to stock up on my supplies of common medicines, medical equipment, bandages, needles, scalpels and such, because I imagine things are going to become quite bloody in the near future.
And so, 2 days pass much quicker than the previous days. Bar going out a little, you do try your best to stay in the inn, and perhaps you do take the advice of Barrack to always have someone up at night on watch. He apparently does let you know that he has a few people nearby also watching the inn, so it does seem that if they were your enemies to make a move on you here, they would actually be at a disadvantage. And so, nothing happens. For 2 days, in fact, your only visitor is Zelda, who comes in on the last day of the carnival and just comments to you in passing, Heinrich, "Oh, you lot have all been in here the for the last couple of days. Is everything all right? Oh, yeah, no, enjoy the festival. It's the last day, you know. There's going to be some lovely fireworks tonight, I hear.
I imagine so. Heinrich at this point revealing the toy that he has purchased, which is not another pistol. It is a blunderbuss, so a beautifully large weapon. But no, we've perhaps gone a bit overboard in the first few days, just saving ourselves up for a grand finale.
I see. Well, I suppose after tomorrow you'll all be heading off then, probably.
No, it's hard to say. It's entirely possible. And he leans forward off the edge of the bed. I assume there's not enough room here for a large amount of an ensuite or a living room. Maybe it's possible we found something worth staying for.
Oh. Well, that would be nice. I'll probably not be working here much longer, though. I tend to get more pay here during, well, the festival, and it's not actually that busy. Well, it is busy, but they don't need as many people, so you probably won't see me again here. But, well, maybe we'll meet again.
Well, you have plans for the road? You gotta be careful on that ramp. It is devilishly steep.
Don't worry, I can look after myself. Still, it's been a pleasure, Herr Schilf. Pleasure serving you. I hope you enjoy your last day of the festival, and be careful. Sometimes the good times can be quite short.
I exceed in enjoying a short moment, Heinrich says, not fully considering the implication of that statement, before continuing. If this day is great, it shall be because you have saw fit to visit me before it ends. Please, do take care of yourself.
She smiles and does a little curtsy and says, "Oh, I'll remember that." And off she goes. And before you know it, darkness is coming over the city once again. Tonight, there is no snow, but it is quite cold. It is the last day of the festival. You know quite a few crowds are heading to the Great Park, and maybe even the Königsgarten. It seems there's some sort of fireworks display that happens at midnight. What do the three of you do? It seems the time of your rendezvous is fast approaching.
Do we want to see the fireworks, or shall we stay in and have a quiet drink and toast to those who have fallen? I know which sounds more respectful. What do the two of you think? I doubt Erica will like the fireworks, honestly.
This choice, I believe, rests with Kruger.
Well, Kruger, you suppose maybe if everything goes really well, afterwards you could see the fireworks? Or you'll be dead. Either or.
That's true. Yeah, let's just enjoy a quiet drink here and that'll be that.
Ye of little imagination, hear me out. Perhaps we can combine the both of these adventures. This inn has a roof. We have an expertise of sorts in roofs.
We have climbed up many buildings.
Aha, yeah. And this time there won't be anyone shooting at us. We can take our drinks, we can see the sky, we can watch the fireworks, and tip our glasses all at once.
Well, Kruger, you don't see any problem with that. That all sounds lovely. Of course, it's now almost 9 o'clock, and time for your rendezvous. But maybe if it all goes well, you can be here by midnight.
Yes, indeed. Well, so yes, it is time for us to head out to meet with Frau Keener. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Are you ready?
As I'll ever be.
Exactly what I was going to say.
At this point, Heinrich is loaded for bear. This is the most armed he has ever been. He looks giddy.
Right, so we locate her over there, right? Can we go over the plan again? Was there something that was being prepared for us, aside from locating this woman with woman in red with a large hat?
According to your friend, Barrack, you were told, ideally, to follow them, and wherever you followed them to then get information, find something out. If it's a layer, get that layer nice and exposed. When you mentioned, were you getting any backup, he quickly said no. He reasoned or told you that it was better that you go in initially alone so that you didn't draw as much attention. Otherwise, perhaps the individuals you're after might catch wind and quickly vacate the premises before you even get there.
All right. Well, then we'll have to see if we can locate this person and then follow them. That should be easy for us. I think we have done something similar up until now, so let's head out. I think I can take the lead.
Lead on. Erica and I will follow.
Erica seems happy to be out and about, and quite happy to play a game of be quiet. She's actually quite good at being quiet when you tell her to do that, Siegfrieda.
Such a well-behaved dog.
She's a wonderful dog. She's the best dog.
Erica barks happily at that compliment. And the three of you begin making your way through the busy crowds of Middenheim. Eventually the crowds thin a little, of course, as you reach the Alt Quarter. Once again, Kruger, you are very much aware that you are being watched. But luckily, as long as you don't go down too dark an alleyway, no one seems to want to rob you tonight, especially one as armed as Heinrich is. And finally you make your way to the location you were told. The so-called pit. Granted, from your vantage point, it doesn't look like anything remotely interesting. Just another hatch leading into the ground, although you see a lot of smoke coming out of said hatch, and there are a few people watching on the outside. The good news is you don't think you actually need to go into this location. After all, you're here waiting for someone to go in and then follow them when they go out. And it might be a lot safer than trying to tackle the local thugs, who are very likely to be down in this place. It does look like some sort of drinking establishment or drug den. So, the three of you get ready to stake out this location. What do you do?
Yeah, I make sure to keep a good eye to see, of course, how many guards there are, and also to try to make sure that we're not being watched, because, I mean, by now, the Purple Hand, or well, anyone else who might have gotten upset with us might have been wanting to ensure that we not cause any further trouble. So, yes, it's not just us being the hunter, but I'm also trying to make sure that we are not the hunted.
Feel free to roll a perception check.
Oh, that's very good. That's 24 under 43. That's 2 degrees of success.
Well, you definitely are being watched, but again, none of the people watching you seem to want to actually approach. And in your estimate, Kruger, they're less assassins and more thugs out for a drink, seeing if you are an easy mark. And you can see a lot of them check out Heinrich and Erica and decide not to bother you. But you are definitely being watched by these individuals with interest. You do think if any of you were to suddenly decide to just walk down an alleyway by yourself, well, that wouldn't be a very good idea. As for the guards who guard this establishment, nothing special. Big, tough guys with clubs, 2 or 3 of them, and you can hear raucous laughter coming from the hatch itself. People down there are having a good time, it seems.
I'll mention this then to Heinrich and to Siegfrieda. This pit really is it's a real hole, and these guards, thugs, whatever you want to call them, they will jump us any chance they get if they see any kind of weakness. The good news is that it doesn't look like the Purple Hand or anyone actively searching for us is here, so, well, we should be able to follow the original plan.
Agreed. I'm very much... I'm not nervous, I promise, but it always occurs to me when we get to these... shall we call them intersections? That I am following your lead. I'm no strategist.
Speaking of that, Heinrich, as you yourself are just idly watching, you notice, just coming down the street, someone in a nice red cloak with a large hat on. Can't quite see their face, it's covered up by the cloak. But they look quite unique as they go to this little den, this hole, step down the stairs, and then, quite oddly to you, step up again and begin walking away.
I will whistle to Kruger, and I suppose also Siegfrieda, to at least call their attention to this person. As they step down, Could I make a perception roll? Did they drop something off? Did they notice us? Was there a reason they just ducked in and out?
Certainly, roll a perception check.
That is a 63, which is not good enough. I do not feel confident in spending my fortune points considering what may lie ahead, so that information will have to be lost to time.
Indeed. You're not really quite sure. It seemed very quick, but you're not sure why it was so quick. You did earlier, all of you, about 10 minutes ago, notice someone else you recognised arrive at the pit. That was, of course, that poor manservant. You could tell, Kruger, that he looked utterly miserable and was looking around constantly, afraid for his life. But somehow he did get there unattacked, and he should still be down there, you think to yourself. But no, you don't know why this person seemed to only check out the location for a few seconds, and now is just making their way off. They're not in a hurry, but they are leaving the area. What do the three of you do?
Oh, we need to follow them, right? That's what we're here to do. So, if there's no further meetings or so that they will have there, then I'll try to discreetly follow them in the crowds.
Roll your stealth check, please.
Oh, it's good that I can re-roll when it's urban stealth. Yes, that is much better. That is 4 degrees of success.
Kruger, time to work. You begin following this red-cloaked individual, making sure to stay out of sight. You direct everyone else to do the same, and all three of you begin following this person. They don't seem to be in a hurry. They do seem to be paying attention to where they're going. But you're pretty sure that every time they look behind them, they can't see you. And this goes on for another 10 minutes of walking down some alleyways, left, right, left, and finally they seem to arrive at a location. This house doesn't have any meaning to the three of you. It could literally be any house in any district, and again, the Alt Quarter is very cramped and very dilapidated. But this particular house, well, there is access to the road, or at least the pavement of Middenheim, although around here there's an awful lot of small pavements, but this is one of the bigger ones. Big enough, for example, for things like horses and carts to go along. And you actually notice that there is a cart with a horse at this location, outside this building. And whatever this building is, it seems to have all the windows boarded up, but there is a door, and this individual stops at the door, looks around one last time, and walks into this dark building.
I wonder who they're meeting here. If they're meeting anyone, or if that's their horse and cart. I look to the two others.
Is there any possibility they're aware of us and are trying to lead us into a trap?
Oh, I felt pretty good about us following them, but then again, well, we have met a lot of people along the way, and there are others who know what we are here to do. Barey, for example, and I'm sure we can trust him, but perhaps there are others who are in the know who might not be as trustworthy. So yes, we might be walking into a trap. Let me see if I can have a look around the building and see if there's anything for us to be worried about.
Roll a perception check.
That is just a success, 51 under 52.
You try and do a quick scout of the building, which is difficult because it's part of a bunch of buildings altogether. You do eventually manage to... You think you get round to the behind the building? And there is another door there, although you do notice it's quite a small one, and you think you can see something that looks like a wire just by that door. The windows are all boarded up, so you can't see through them, and there's no light coming from the building. It seems dark. You try listening, you hear nothing. And then you eventually come back round to the front of the building.
The back door seems to be protected, some kind of trap mechanism. We'd better just walk in through the front door. I mean, if there's only her there, then we'll just confront her. If there's other people there, well then, Heinrich, you'll point some guns at them, right?
Oh, will I ever?
Well, here we go. And I look to Siegfrieda. Are you ready?
I am. Erica is as well.
Erica's sniffing the air, seeming to be alert, but not too concerned just yet.
Well, I'll move up to the door then and try to open it as silently as possible if it is unlocked. If it is locked, I might have to do some lock picking.
It is unlocked and opens easily and quietly, leading to darkness. What do you do?
It's very dark inside. We have brought some kind of light source, yes? I mean, it is dark outside anyways, right? So we have some form of lantern with us then.
Indeed, if you wish to light the lantern, you may.
Yes, I think that is best. We need to see what we're going into. So that's what I'll do. And I'll hold the lantern and I'll have my knife in my other hand. And I begin sneaking inside.
You sneak inside, although you find quickly that there isn't much sneaking to be done because the second you walk through the door, there's nothing to hide behind. There's no furniture in this dilapidated-looking room. There's some mouldy carpet, some bookshelves empty, a chair, and a lot of dust and cobwebs, at least in the corners, but not directly in front of you. As you look around further, you notice that an area that doesn't seem as dusty as everywhere else leads to a hatch.
That's where we need to go. I'll move towards the hatch then, first of all making sure that there's no trap mechanism or anything like that on it.
No, there are some heavy locks, but what do you know? It's unlocked. And you lift up the hatch with a groan, and it leads to a big flight of wooden stairs going down into what you assume must be a basement.
Down we go. And I'll start leading us down then.
Siegfrieda and Heinrich, what do? Kruger's leading the way. He seems keen to head down these stairs into this darkness, but you have light. Do you just follow? With your weapons maybe at the ready?
The more appropriate maneuver would be to let Siegfrieda take the middle slot on this little roller coaster, lest an ambush come from behind. But I see no reason to guard an empty room forever.
Yeah, if Heinrich is happy to cover the rear and ensure no one sneaks up on us, then Erica and I can stick to the middle. Then if someone rushes, Kruger or Heinrich, Erica can be let go and bound toward them. It's likely she'll pick up on their presence before we do.
Indeed. And so you step down the wooden stairs into darkness. But your lantern does give some light. You seem to be quite a large area. There's a lot of barrels directly behind the stairs, quite a bit of space behind them actually. And in front of you, Kruger, you think you see a hallway, and there are doors to the left and right. And as you step down into this and your eyes begin to adjust to the darkness, well, that's when Erica begins to growl very low. And then several torches light up on the walls. It seems someone is lighting them. And then, of course, you see the number of people who await you. You are making sure to watch behind you, Heinrich, so you are ready when you see 8 people armed with crossbows all aimed at you. And of course, Kruger, you know that there are people in front of you as well in this tunnel. There is 2 very large individuals, one a very large man with messy dark hair, and one a very large woman who seems to be missing quite a few of her teeth. She is clothed in plate mail, or chain mail. The man seems a bit more looser with his clothing. There's also a sort of fidgety-looking man with a long cloak in a corner. And finally, there is the woman in the red cloak, who is behind these 2 burly individuals. And well, as all the lights come on the torches being lit by this fidgety fellow, you see the situation. You are surrounded. There are quite a lot of people down here. But no one's doing anything just yet. What's your immediate action, Kruger, as you see that you have indeed walked into a trap?
Well, look at that. The amount of people that we are surrounded by here, is it a situation that, if this turned into violence, would immediately end with our deaths, or do I judge that it would be a way through this with if we went all in?
That depends. Someone's going to get hurt. this is bad. You were expecting a couple of people, but shit, there are people behind you. Now, luckily Heinrich has his eyes on them, but he's only got 2 hands and 3 guns. That would still leave quite a few people. Of course, Erica is growling and ready. It's going to be a very dangerous fight. Your life is going to be on the line. There are so many. The only thing that bothers you is why they aren't attacking immediately.
Ah. Frau Keener, is it?
You still can't actually see this woman's face. It still seems to be a little shrouded in shadow. But she does turn, and you are pretty sure it is a woman, as she speaks. That's one name, yes. So, I suppose the question is, did you know this was a trap and come anyway? Or did you actually think that we wouldn't know you were coming? Purely curious.
I must confess that this came as a bit of a surprise. I thought we had done a fine job sneaking in and trying to track you through the city. But I suppose it was too easy.
Not a bad shadow, if I'm honest. I didn't see you, but I knew you'd be following. That was obvious, wasn't it? Ever since the little stunt at the Royal College of Music, you didn't think we wouldn't expect that you were on the trail of the High Chancellor, did you? You were very public with all that screaming you made her do at the outside the college.
Ah, yes, the memories. Good times.
Still, you're here, as I knew you would be, and you came alone, as I was pretty sure you would. So, you're probably wondering what happens next. Well, good news. I am a professional, as I've said before. So if you didn't make a scene at the College of Music, you did make a scene at the Graf's garden party, and finally, I'm allowed to kill you. I'll give you credit, though, holding up for 2 days, all armoured and watchful at the Templar's Arms. That was good. It was more difficult to get you there. But here, thankfully, much easier to finally get rid of you. You really are very meddlesome. Not at all innocent bystanders, are you, really? Her tone is extremely devoid of any inflection or emotion. She seems to be chatting to you as if it's the most boring thing in the world.
Certain that we will be able to make it interesting for her very soon. Now, come, must this end with violence? I mean, a lot of people are going to die. You might even find yourself at the end of your rope as a part of this. I mean, you have the numbers, certainly, but you know that we're capable. Must it end with violence? Can we not solve this some other way?
Pray tell, out of interest, how would it be solved another way? I'm curious.
You could leave. We will take care of your masters, and we will make sure that they are dealt with appropriately, and you can start your careers in the shadows of society in some other town. I hear Nuln is nice.
Tempting, I suppose. But then that would be very unprofessional, wouldn't it? Walking out on a job half done.
Well, no one would know. The people who would know would be in custody or dead. So it would be your little secret. Our little secret, actually.
Huh. Interesting. Then again, I could kill you now, and get paid, and job well done.
Yes, but you might die.
That's life. Everything is a gamble. Life, death. It's the only real reason for living. Don't you find?
I suppose. Without the risk of dying, all of this would mean a lot less, wouldn't it? I wonder how the elves get through it all, being immortal and all.
Seems terribly dull to me.
We agree on something, isn't that nice? Well, shall we then? And I'll nod to my companions, and I suppose we will begin fighting, because there doesn't seem to be anything else that can be done here.
No. Siegfrieda, would you like to roll a perception check? You as well, Heinrich.
Surely.
I would love to.
This one's better. That's a 15, which is 4 degrees of success.
I also get a 15, so we're in perfect sync.
Well, you two are taking an assessment of the situation as Kruger speaks. You have to admit, Heinrich, this isn't great. You think you can get 2 in your sights, maybe 3. The issue is there's going to be at least 3 you won't be able to shoot instantly. Now Siegfried could take down 1, but then of course there are these 2 very large individuals, and then there's that shady man. You really don't like being outnumbered. And then you kind of look to the entrance, or rather the exit to this area. It's completely dark up there, but do you see some movement? A creak of a floorboard? You think you do, and as you look, Siegfried, you look as well, and you think there are people above you. Quite a few people. And you think just in the flash of light from Kruger's lantern, you see someone wielding a very large axe. Maybe you're not completely alone after all. What do you do, Heinrich?
Oh, outnumbered or not, I've bought this new toy. I am compelled by Sigmar himself to use it. Mechanically, the blunderbuss has Blast 3, which inflicts the damage and any related conditions on any targets within 3 yards of me as I'm standing.
Do I take it you wish to start things off with a bang?
Well, I did promise everyone fireworks.
Then make your attack roll. Roll ballistic skill.
Yeah, 42 under 53, so 1 degree of success plus the 8 damage is not... Actually, they are close, and that is on me. You get a plus 10 to the attack roll, so 2 degrees of success plus 8 from the damage bonus.
You raise your blunderbuss and fire, spreading fire and carnage to at least 2 individuals as they fall to the ground, quite badly wounded. And then, what happens next is quite a lot, and it all happens over the space of the next 10 to 20 seconds. Siegfrieda, you are perhaps rightfully anxious. You notice your friend, you notice your friend Heinrich lift his blunderbuss off and make a spectacular first shot, taking down at least 2 people. But of course you then immediately see 3 people running towards you. Just before one of them gets to you though, knife in hand, there is a flash of movement. And Erica is up and tearing out the man's throat. Very quickly, very efficiently. Still, another one comes at you, and, well, maybe you have time to dodge, but will you be able to dodge the second knife? And then you don't have to dodge, because that man falls. And so does the other woman. Because suddenly a large group of people are storming down the stairs and raining holy gunfire all over the vicinity. It seems suddenly you've been joined by a group of 5 or 6 people, all armed with rifles, who are beginning to mow down most of the other people. Heinrich, you notice this as well. You notice that there was someone getting a crossbow ready to fire at you, and they just go down in a hail of gunfire. Kruger, you turn. This is all quite impressive, but you have people in front of you. You see one of these large individuals spring towards you with a very large axe, and then the axe is parried. Next to you is Herr Barak, parrying with his own battle axe, and then quickly chopping this guy's leg off with a quite swift motion. The other woman, the one missing her teeth, charges forward to you as well, but then she is gunned down by Lady Emmanuel Nacht. You see a flash of her hair and her dress in the light. The shifty individual, the one wearing a hood, panics and runs to a room, but, well, that just leaves the woman in red, who you just notice disappearing out a door at the end of the hallway. All of this happens extremely quickly, and then as time seems to return to you, you just see Lady Emmanuel Nacht looking down at you, Kruger, pointing forwards and saying, "Right, you 3, we've got this! After her! Don't let her get away!"
Don't need to tell me twice. I'll book right after the lady in red. I'll get her.
And so you book straight after, heading down the hallway. Heinrich, what did you do? You fired off 1 shot, and now an awful lot of people around you are dying and getting shot, and you see your friend heading after the lady in red, and you hear Lady Emmanuel Nacht as well, looking at you and gesturing for you to follow.
Oh, I don't need to wait for Lady Nacht to tell me what to do. If Kruger's running, I'm running. We're pals, that's how this works.
And run you do as well. Siegfrieda, that just leaves you. There is still some battle happening around you. You see some flashes of lightning from a corner, and it seems that weird fellow, oh no, is he a witch? But there are people heading after him. Erica is by your side, wagging her tail, her muzzle now slightly bloodstained. And your two friends are after this woman in red. What do you do?
Well, as Heinrich said, we stick together. So, Erica to me, and I run in the direction that Kruger is headed.
Then all three of you head down that hallway and barrel through the door into a room. Seems to be someone's private chambers. There's a table in here, there's strange mannequins. A whole bunch of them, like 10 or 15, and they're all dressed in different clothes with different hats and wigs, and you think, Siegfrieda, there's like little notes attached to the mannequins with names. How unusual. There also seems to be a big chest of drawers in here. As all three of you run in, including Erica, you hear the door quickly slam shut behind you. Ah, Kruger. There was some sort of mechanism on the door. You hear it lock. But that's fine. There's three of you and a dog. And there's the woman in red. She has some distance between the two of you. She's behind a table. She's in the middle of burning something. Some papers. She turns and she sighs and makes to remove her hat. Underneath the hat, she is quite a stark-looking woman. Her hair is all completely shaven, so she seems almost bald. And yet, as she looks at you with her green eyes, would you all like to roll an intuition check? There's something oddly familiar about this woman. Make it at a -10.
Then I just succeed. 48, and I have 48 then.
I have failed on both my attempts.
A 44 on a 44, which means, given the penalty, I critically fail.
Heinrich, you take the woman in for a moment, but then look to the door and get completely distracted as you actually try and go to the door and try and open it, and you can't, and it kind of throws you off, because even though you were in full charge just there, you're a little caught off guard by apparently being trapped in this room. Hopefully not for too long, it's just a door, but it is a good solid locked door. Siegfrieda, you keep your ground, although, again, you just look confused. Why does this woman seem familiar to you? You don't know. Kruger, you've met this woman before. But that's impossible. You can't have. You would remember a bold woman like this, and yet somehow something about her looks extremely, extremely familiar. She sighs as you look at her, Kruger, and goes to play with a quite long rapier she has at her side. Well played. I really did think that the three of you wouldn't want backup. You're very independent. You like to do things by yourselves and don't respect authority. Tell me truly, did you plan for your backup to be stalled, or did you actually not know it was coming?
I just smile at her. Wouldn't you like to know?
I would. But something tells me we're not going to have a nice chat, are we? Oh well.
We could. There's no need for us to kill you here. We actually want to talk to you.
Oh, of course. Let me guess. Who's your master? Who are you working for? Who is involved in the conspiracy? And then maybe if I tell you all that, I'll only get a swift execution rather than a slow one.
Well, I mean, if you play your cards right, you might find a way to survive all of this. I mean, you have important information.
Extremely. Like I said, though, I'm a professional. Sorry. It would be really remiss of me to not have even remotely attempted to kill you myself, would it? So, I guess the only real question is... And she draws her rapier. Are you actually going to fight me? Or are you going to stand at the back and shoot all those guns at me like cowards? I hate guns, you know.
I fire my crossbow.
You do so. But sadly, she seems to preempt it. The fight begins. What's everyone's initiatives?
That's I, not int. That is 39.
I is 53.
37.
And so the battle begins. Kruger, you feel certain and sure. You aim your crossbow and get ready to fire, but you weren't expecting her to suddenly charge you. Before you can even pull the trigger, this woman has thrown herself forward very fast and very quickly. As she does so, she briefly remarks, I almost forgot, so rare I'm introduced. Brunhilde Claglich, a pleasure. And she attacks you with this rapier.
Indeed she does. Well, I mean, if I haven't been able to fire the crossbow, then I'll just have to try to dive out of the way. I'm not going to be able to parry with a ranged weapon.
You certainly won't. Feel free to make your dodge roll.
Oh, look at that. 6 under 47. That's 4 degrees of success.
And so you duck and dive, although it is very close. Literally, where you were, a rapier goes into the air. That would have skewered you straight through. Still, it's your turn. What do you do?
Well, I said that I would fire, so that's exactly what I will do.
You will, but you're going to need to maneuver a little. She currently is right in your way. You are going to need to disengage.
Then I will have to do that.
You will need to make an opposed roll of dodge versus weapon skill, as she will try to hit you as you disengage. Are you ready to try this?
Yes. So, in the first roll, I just succeeded. On the second one, I rolled 3 degrees of success.
You attempt to disengage, but she is just unbelievably fast and immediately blocks your way. You try again, and she blocks again. You can't get away. You are stuck in melee combat. You can't move. And unfortunately, that means you can't fire your crossbow. You might be able to quickly grab your knife. What do you do?
Well, I'll try to stay out of the way then. I don't stand a chance in direct melee combat. That's not really what I'm good at. So I'll have to hope for my friends to be able to get an attack in on her, and then maybe I can use that opportunity to make my move. So I'll try to stay out of her way then. I'll try to dodge and try to just keep her chasing after me. I mean, there's 2 other people with me, so hopefully they'll be able to get her attention soon.
Very well, then on that note, would you then like to use your action perhaps to give your friends some advice? Maybe rally them, maybe you could give them some advantage on a roll.
Sure. Yes, I will do that.
What skill would you like to use to... I'll allow any fellowship-based skill.
Leadership?
Leadership would work, yeah.
That makes the most amount of sense. I will target Heinrich, and I just succeed. 32 under 35.
What do you say to Heinrich to give him a point of advantage?
Now's your chance! From the left!
Very well, Heinrich, it is your turn. You get your guns ready, but you realize immediately the problem. This woman is in melee combat with your friend. He's trying to get away. She's not letting him. She's clearly aware that you're going to try and fill her full of bullets and is trying to make the shot very difficult, because it will be. Shooting her, even at point-blank range now, risks hitting your friend.
Oh, I can't do that. That would be a terrible way to spend the day. But that's not to say that I won't engage rapier to rapier with someone who finally seems like a fair fight.
Very well then. Do you wish to charge in and join the melee?
Oh, absolutely. I'm charging while you ask that question.
Then in you go. She looks your direction and briefly actually seems to give you a nod of acknowledgement, saying, "Good. Much better this way." And you meet her blade with yours. You notice as your blades meet that her blade shines with some sort of resplendence. You think you see runes on the blade. You think she has a sword similar to yours. What are the odds? Would you like to make your attack roll?
Evenly matched and eager to prove myself. Let us see if this rapier roll goes the way I would like it to. Well, the answer to that question is no, but with a little bit of fortune, I can make a second try. That I will take. It is a 6, which is 5 degrees of success.
Heinrich, you dive forwards, meeting blade to blade. This person is good. They parry and they parry again, and Even though they should be at a disadvantage considering they're outnumbered, that doesn't seem to bother them in the slightest. But you do find an opening, and you do manage to throw your blade forwards with a good thrust. Well, how much damage do you deal initially?
It is 6 for the degrees of success, plus 4 from the weapon, and then my strength bonus of 3. So 6 plus 7 for 13.
And so you deal your damage to her side, getting a good stab in. She doesn't yell out in pain. She doesn't even seem that bothered, but she does wince. You have wounded her. How are you feeling, Heinrich? This is quite a fight, and this woman is doing very well, but you have managed to best her for the moment.
Oh, blade to blade, this is where I belong. In fact, probably a better fight than I would have gotten out of that old champion.
Also, you now have 2 advantage.
2 advantage and also a move action remaining. I would like to use my distract talent.
Please do. It's an opposed roll, yes?
Yes, I roll athletics and she rolls cool. Not probably worth you rolling. I got a 92, which is well above my athletics of 52.
Oh, yes, even though she does fail as well. She only fails by 1 success level. That's a failure from you from 4.
Then I imagine this is a delightful flourish from Heinrich that he's meant to show off and seize the moment and make a glorious cinematic moment out of it. But that overconfidence leads him to being met once again.
Indeed. No, you do attempt to distract her, but she will not be distracted. Heinrich, her attention is impeccable. She is trying her best to take on all 3 of you if necessary, and she's almost doing it. Almost. Siegfrieda, your turn. Your 2 friends are locked in deadly combat. You see your dear dog Erica look a little confused. She's whining, as if she doesn't know what to do, which is a bit unusual, and she's sniffing the air a lot. She doesn't seem to be in pain or anything, she just isn't lunging forwards. What do you do, Siegfrieda?
Well, short of going a bit lassie with her, I don't really want to get down in a crouch and say, "What is it, Erica? What can you hear?" I think really the focus does have to be on this person who is currently occupying my 2 companions. I know it's going to be difficult throwing yet another person into the melee, but I have a plan. It worked out quite well last time. So I'll say, "Erica, go for her legs, tangle them up." Essentially planning to destabilize her. I know that she's not going to be able to hit Erica because she is already lunging at my 2 companions. So it's unlikely she's going to be able to do that 3 times, but it might destabilize her enough to allow my friends to get their blows in. I'm worried that these mannequins around us may come to life, but right now I can't concentrate on that. I need to bring her down. She's the focal point. And then, when it comes to me, I want, as silly as it is, I want to examine these mannequins. I'm not going from one to one, slowly examining them. I'm looking around, making sure there's no sudden movements. Erica is my melee attack. I need to be the eyes.
That she is, and Erica goes forward and seems oddly hesitant. You're not sure what's going on. She really doesn't want to disobey your command, and she yaps at this woman, but she doesn't go in to attack. She seems confused, and she keeps sniffing the air, and then she doesn't really seem to have a chance, as poor Heinrich and Kruger are constantly moving with this woman. But as that's happening, you go and investigate the mannequins, and you ready yourself and touch one, and it seems to be made of wood. It doesn't seem to be coming to life at all. But it is fascinating. It's a beautiful dress on this one, and a really nice wig, and you see the note up close. It says, Lady Charlotte. Interesting, and then you have time to look at one more, and that one is a maid's outfit, or rather a serving girl's outfit, with a long blonde wig, and has the name Zelda.
Well, I've basically taken my action. If Erica won't actually attack, then there is nothing more I can do.
No, you don't get to roll. It's strange. You're not sure why she isn't attacking. She is doing her best to distract, however, but doesn't seem to be helping. You have to admit, Siegfrieda, this woman seems able to handle 3 people. Maybe not 4 or 5, but at least 3. And so the second round begins.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this third part of the series, we are tackling Book 3, Power Behind the Throne. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Ager Sonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We'd like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon, Graham Barey, and Doug Thomson for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Skaven are definitely not real. Except, well, who's gonna believe you? Never mind.